Welcome, everybody, to the Ring Generals podcast. My name is Nick Nina, and alongside me is Eric.
What's cooking?
And the RKJ Man.
Let's talk that talk, y'all. Hypocritical Nick. What's good?
What's
I
good
can see your ugly face now.
I know, it's brutal. And I have long hair, and I forgot we were recording today, so I did not get dressed up for the podcast in the least bit.
It's okay. It's NCAA tournament day.
Oh, dude, I have the worst bracket I have ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
The only good game I got was UC Irvine. It has been so awful, my bracket today.
Well, I
need to talk wrestling so I can get my mind off basketball.
I thought Wofford was going to do well. Like, shout-outs to Wofford and them boys, man, but they're going to get destroyed against Kentucky even without PJ Washington. So
I don't know about that. I'm rooting for the Boston Terriers, man.
You rooting for the Leos? I got him
for the Leos.
right over down here looking at us right now, just rereading himself, watching us. Me.
Ryan has a Wofford. That's what he has.
It literally looks like the mascot too.
No, exactly. But so first time on Skype, at least for me. I know you guys have done this before, but so first time recording a Ring Generals podcast on Skype. We weren't able to get in the studio together, so this is a very good, thing to do instead of that. And today we're going to be talking about the furthering, obviously, of WrestleMania storylines. We have less than 3 weeks until WrestleMania. Almost, we're 2 weeks away. We're recording here on Friday, whatever date it is. I forget. I don't know. But
Friday.
Yeah, so we got some stuff going down. Of course. We don't necessarily know what the WWE Championship match is still going to be because Kofi Kingston did not win the Gauntlet match, or I guess he kind of did and then he didn't. So what do you guys think about? Let's start with, because I know that's what we want to talk about. So what do we think about what's going on here? I was shocked to see him lose. I expected Daniel Bryan to actually be the last guy because I saw the timing of when the show was going to end, and I could see that the Randy Orton Kofi Kingston match was not going to take 18 minutes. But I did not expect him to actually lose. What did you guys think?
Eric, I'll let you go first on this one.
Well, with Kofi Kingston, he's kind of like in the same boat as Daniel Bryan as he was a couple of years ago. He was like the underdog. Daniel Bryan, he was getting screwed over by the authority. And me and the RK Gym have actually talked about this, how Daniel Bryan was talking to Vince McMahon saying that he's a great wrestler, great athlete, but he's a B-plus player. So Kofi Kingston is in the same shoes as Daniel Bryan. So
yeah,
in a way, Kofi Kingston is in the same shoes as Daniel Bryan was a couple of years ago. I really think that, it was unfair of of Vince McMahon to screw over Kofi Kingston like that because, man, he went through 5 guys, and at the very end, he gets Daniel Bryan. And then, yeah, it was just a letdown, and it did piss me off. And I know the guys from the New Day were pissed off too. What can I say, man? I'm pretty sure they're going to find ways to have Kofi Kingston win, unless they're crazy enough to bring in maybe along the lines of, I don't know if it's crazy enough, but Kofi Kingston versus Vince McMahon at WrestleMania.
I don't know.
No.
That's what would have happened 8-9 years ago when Vince could actually still go. But that's what makes it interesting to me, is that I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know if Kofi. I think I said this on the last podcast, or maybe 2 podcasts ago. With this storyline, every single week some new stuff happens, and I do not expect it. I don't know how it goes. So you gotta watch SmackDown the next week, right? I don't know how he's going to get to WrestleMania. I didn't think he could get through the Gauntlet match. He did. It made sense how he did. He didn't necessarily beat everybody.
Which I expected. I said that there was going to be some
super unrealistic if he did that too. If he beat all those guys, no way, right? But so it made sense, and I was like, oh wow, he's actually going to win it. He's going to go to WrestleMania, and then I thought Daniel Bryan would be that last guy. I'm like, then he'll beat the champion, and then whatever, they'll beat the hell out of him for the next 2 weeks, and he'll go to WrestleMania and win the title. That's not what happened though. He got pinned clean, right in the smack dab in the middle of the ring, and now we don't know what's going to happen. So for me, it's interesting, but that's all I kind of have to say about it. I don't know what's going to happen with this storyline. I'm interested to see the next 2 weeks what happens.
I am very, very happy they're doing this storyline, and I've said this before. I actually mentioned it on several occasions that they're going to put race somewhere in this storyline. And it looks like now it's coming in there more prominently. If you look at Big E and what he said after, he was talking about how they have to work twice as hard. He's talking about the New Day, which is a subtle reference to them being black. And he's talking about how all of a sudden they've got to work harder, they've got to do twice as much, and they're still not going to get their opportunities for that main event spot. And it makes sense for them to go to this storyline if Kofi Kingston's going to win the championship. And I think Kofi's winning the championship at Mania. I liked also what Byron Saxton said, too. Byron Saxton alluded to it, too, apparently. I saw this on Twitter. He made some statement about how Kofi has to work twice as harder. He has to do twice as much as the next guy, and he still won't get those opportunities. And Corey Graves said, calm down, calm down, calm down. And you know what that means? It's basically saying, hey, look, he's black. They're not going to give him the same opportunities as Daniel Bryan still. They're not going to give him the same opportunities as John Cena. They're not going to give him the same opportunities as Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, guy after guy after guy. I just, for me personally, though, I wonder if they're overbooking a little bit because now we're almost 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. Okay, we've gotten some build with this, but there needs to be some heat between challenger and champion. And there's not going to be any true heat there.
You don't think there's heat right now with Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston? Dude, I think they effing hate each other.
They hate each other, but it's just we don't know where the situation with the WWE Championship is going. And personally, I want to see Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston on the mic. I want to see some intense segment between each other where it's a pull-apart brawl. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how – we only got 2 more weeks for that. So It's like – where are you going here? How are we going to get it? Are we going to actually wait until the day of WrestleMania to finally get him there? I saw somebody say, I saw this on either Reddit or one of the forums I go on to, and they said how apparently this could be the start of a power struggle between Triple H and Stephanie and Vince, where they have to intervene and they say, hey, look, what you're doing is unfair. This is not right. Or if this is old-fashioned, Kofi could go to the WWE board of directors or HR or something and say, hey, look, this is racial discrimination, all this stuff, and he's doing all this stuff. But, it doesn't make sense because why would not every other wrestler would not try to do that? Why did Daniel Bryan didn't try to do that 5 years ago when they tried to cut him out of WrestleMania?
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where the storyline is going. My only concern is are they overthinking it or are they overbooking it? Will this be a Booker T WrestleMania 19 situation against Triple H? Okay. Will this end up like that? Bruce Pritchard is back. Bruce Pritchard is back, and Bruce Pritchard said on his podcast when Conrad Thompson confronted him on it, he said that storyline wasn't racist, when clearly I think a lot of us thought that was racist.
It was.
So it's ironic that Bruce Pritchard is now back in the same spot 16 years later with a black African-American WWE popular superstar, high-flying like Kofi Kingston. Can he right his wrong? Will he be able to right that wrong? I hope he can. I hope Bruce is going to Kofi and is like, I'm gonna be able to do what I did for you, what I couldn't do for Booker T. Basically meaning I'm gonna get you that title win at WrestleMania. I'm gonna get you there. You just gotta trust in the process. Kofi Kingston's Joel Embiid right now, y'all. He's Joel Embiid. You gotta trust in the process, Kofi. And the WWE universe has gotta trust in this process with Kofi. I'm just concerned if they're overbooking it. One process I don't trust is BaronCorbin facing Kurt Angle, but we'll talk about that later.
All right, Eric. What are some more of your thoughts on this? Do you think that this is an angle about race, or do you think it's more they're trying to do a McMahon power struggle thing? Because I'm in the middle of it too. It could be both too. But what do you see more? Do you see this both, or do you see there's one side or the other?
It's mixed. Yeah, a little bit of both. I see more of it like that. The race part, I can totally tell because at first I was a little bit ignorant about it, but now I'm starting to seeing it, more and more.
I was the first one to point it out. I was like, this thing is going towards a race storyline.
Yeah, so they're playing that on that. There's that power struggle, of course, but then if they're doing the power struggle, then what does that mean for Triple H? Because he's got his hands on Batista, so that would have to mean just Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon, just the three of them.
Shane's not doing anything. I mean, Shane's turned completely heel.
Oh yeah, that's another part.
And Stephanie, I think. See, that's the thing. I don't think the McMahons. I think something might happen after WrestleMania. But Triple H is. You're right. Triple H is with Batista. Stephanie has to deal with Ronda Rousey and her husband just going nuts on Monday Night Raw. And Shane's dealing with Miz, and Vince is obviously just
the head guy.
He's just totally screwing Kofi Kingston unfairly, putting him in gauntlet matches with like the biggest guys in the. It's just,
you know what? You know what doesn't make sense is with this Becky storyline, he took her out. He had the power to take her out, but yet the WWE management had the power to put her back in, reinstate her, and put her back in. So why can't they do this with Kofi? Is that where they're going with Kofi?
Well, it's weird. I don't think they do the same thing twice. Although
did they bring in Linda? Nah, she's too busy with Trump.
She's working in the cabinet. I don't think she can't be. I mean, if she did, great, but that'd be crazy. I'd be crazy.
How long now?
But I think that would have happened probably earlier in the storyline. I don't think they'd bring in a member of the presidential cabinet, the United States cabinet, 2 weeks before WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? But it's very interesting to see what happens with Kofi Kingston because I have no idea. Like, I assume he's just going to get to WrestleMania, right? And he's going to be there when we're there at MetLife Stadium, and he's going to have a match against somebody, right, that is involved with these storylines. But you look at it, and the Bar is a tag team, so he probably, maybe he has like a 2-on-1 match to earn himself into a championship match, a lot like Daniel Bryan did, something against the odds, right? But like Randy Orton's not involved. Samoa Joe's got Rey Mysterio. Eric Rowan, he's just, Daniel Bryan's lackey. I don't see people taking that match legitimately at WrestleMania. So I really don't. It has to be Daniel Bryan, right? Who else? Maybe Kevin Owens gets involved in the storyline again. I don't know. It's like who? Maybe the WWE Championship just crazily doesn't get defended at WrestleMania, and there's no way, right?
There's no way. But everybody's in support of Kofi. One idea I saw made sense. Kind of like Mick Foley in 2000 when the whole roster went on strike. What about if the roster for SmackDown Live?
Because you saw them back there too.
They say, hey, what you did to Kofi was unjust and unfair, and they say we're going to go on strike. And Vince McMahon has no other choice. And not only are we going to go strike tonight, we may go on strike for WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And if that happens, Vince is forced to put Kofi in that main event spot, or at least have him be in a situation where he can earn his way to the championship in a fair contest, and where if he wins, he's definitely getting in. But, that's the only way I could see. And maybe they're going with that because of the way everybody and their mom was name-dropping Kofi and how they were saying we support Kofi Kingston. And then you saw them all gathering together in the back watching Kofi Kingston. So I thought that was weird. By the way, aren't the Hardy Boys and the Usos supposed to be feuding soon? And they're back there eating pancakes?
Well, they're not feuding yet. That's just online rumors, though. They're not.
We got to get something going soon for that.
Yeah.
That 2.5 weeks from WrestleMania, and there's nothing big confirmed for the tag team.
True. Yeah. What was weird about this SmackDown last week, I don't know if you guys mentioned it, is that there was literally like 4 storylines played out. Like there really wasn't much to do with this SmackDown besides Kofi Kingston. You had Charlotte and Becky fight. That meant nothing to me. I get it. They're going to fight, but I've already seen that
a million times.
Becky and not Becky. Bailey and Sasha had the stuff with the Australian chicks. I'm forgetting their names. The Iconics. Yeah. And then you had Rey Mysterio announced he was going to be U.S. champion, but there wasn't really storyline furthering in that. He said that his son was going to be there, which is interesting in its own right.
Y'all remember Dominique from Eddie Guerrero's storyline?
Yeah. Dominic, not Dominique. He's not a woman.
Dominic, man.
Dominic. Yeah, you remember Dominic from the Omni Poppy?
Can be a male's name. I apologize. Dominic Wilkins. Respect. I apologize for that.
This is heavy sports podcast today, y'all. Sorry. It's March Madness.
No, exactly. But so I think I really care less about SmackDown Tag Team Championships, to be honest. There's a lot bigger storylines at WrestleMania, and that's just something that will happen. And if they even don't defend their titles, it really won't mean much to me. But I expect a lot more storylines to be played out on these next 2 SmackDowns, obviously, because they kind of wasted a SmackDown this last week with the Kofi stuff that meant something, But even like AJ Styles didn't intervene, Rey Mysterio didn't intervene in that.
Very
surprising. I thought someone was going to intervene in the finale, the Daniel Bryan Kofi part of the match, and nobody did. So it's crazy. It's like the whole locker room's back there, cheering them on. Nobody's actually helping. It's like you see those videos of you see videos of like cops beating people up in the street, and everybody has their phones out. And nobody's actually doing anything to help.
Or like black people.
SmackDown rosters.
Cops beating up black people.
Yeah. Black people. I just said people.
But look. I just said it. You can say it.
Most Mexicans are black people, right, Nick?
So
right?
I think one thing I didn't like too is during the commercial break, they said that the New Day couldn't interfere in any of Kofi's matches. He couldn't come out and help him or support him on ringside, which we did not get to see. So it's kind of frustrating how they made that announcement. Yeah, they made that. If you go back and look at it, they made that announcement during the broadcast.
No, I'm just saying, why is that a big deal? It just stacked the odds against him more. I mean, obviously, the New Day's out there cheating for him. I don't think that helps Kofi's case. That's Vince is going to be like, nah, man, you cheated. Now you're not in WrestleMania for sure. Instead, Vince cheated and added another person to the gauntlet match.
I mean, Kofi.
Vince is such a dick, man.
He is.
He's such a dick. He actually pissed me off, man. Like, I just want to see Kofi in the main event, man. We're invested in this. We're going. I was telling my mom.
I want Vince to get his ass kicked. That's all I want.
I was like, this stuff means stuff to me because I'm actually going to be there, like, in attendance, enjoying this. And, like, I just want to see Kofi in there. And we're now 2 weeks away, and he's still not added to the card.
And there's nothing with the WrestleMania card. That's the biggest problem. There is absolutely nothing going on with the WWE Championship as of right now. And we expect it to happen, but when are we going to get the announcement? Are we going to wait till the day of to get the announcement?
I think it's going to be the SmackDown before. I think they'll stack it as far as because
nobody really watches the SmackDown before Mania though. That's a tough one.
It's different. It's different now, right? It's not. I mean, back then it was shot on Thursdays or Fridays, and SmackDown, that was when the brand split wasn't existing,
and nobody cared about SmackDown.
Yeah, this is two separate shows. I mean, if you go back and watch the SmackDown before WrestleMania last year, I almost guarantee it was a legitimate show where you had to watch something.
Yeah.
Right. But here's the thing. You have to build to that, and if you don't, show that there's going to be a competitive show, then maybe people won't watch that SmackDown. But I just see this as the reason they can wait with specifically having him put in the match till the very last moment is because this is a storyline. It's been a storyline since the Elimination Chamber. Since the SmackDown after Elimination Chamber, Kofi Kingston has been working to get to the WWE Championship. This has actually been a long build. It's been a weird long build, but it's been one of the longest builds besides Becky and Charlotte and Ronda. It's probably been the second longest build for any WrestleMania match. The match hasn't literally been announced. But it actually can be announced the day before if you want to do that. Because
that doesn't make it special anymore.
No, it does. No, but this is the story. What I'm saying is the storyline has been building since the eliminations February. We've had, 6-7 weeks where Kofi has been involved in the WWE Championship, trying to win the WWE Championship. And if he finally does win it at WrestleMania, that's the big payoff. It doesn't really matter when it's announced he's in the match, at least in my opinion. As long as he just finally gets in and we see him hit a whatever his kick's called, SOS or whatever, and he pins Ryan 1, 2, 3 for like the 14th time. Paradise. Trouble in Paradise. Yeah, I'm really bad with my names and moves today. I apologize. Too much basketball. I can tell you the 2-3 zone all day. I can tell you who UCI
1-3-1 zone
was today. I can tell you everything about Zion Williamson you want to know, but I can't even name the Iconics ring name. So
shout out to my Duke Blue Devils, man. Tough start at the beginning, but we came through.
Oh yeah, I was like, you stopped responding in our group chat, and I was like, oh, he's going into depression for sure. Duke's gonna lose for sure.
I turned off the TV and started studying.
Good. Yeah. No. But yeah. So I guess we'll see. We do a podcast what seems like every single week before WrestleMania. So we'll see next week, and we'll talk about more what happens. I don't think there's much really else we can extend on this. But it was shocking to me that he was not involved, or he did not win this match, this gauntlet match, because it was see-through, like Duke beating a 16 seed this Tuesday, and it didn't happen. And you got an upset, and Daniel Bryan won. So let's move on. Do we want to move on to this Ronda Rousey stuff where she's kind of doing whatever she wants now? What else do you want to say? What do you guys want to talk about right now that's on your minds with the WrestleMania storylines?
I'll talk about that BaronCorbin, Kurt Angle beat.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Look, I don't understand in a storyline where it makes perfect sense for John Cena to be involved because it literally doesn't require him to be there until a week before WrestleMania or maybe even the day of WrestleMania, why they could not insert John Cena in the match. Apparently, according to reports, this isn't a swerve, that they had this planned. I don't understand why BaronCorbin is the logical. Well, I understand the logical choice, but I don't understand the logical choice in this being his last match. Like at WrestleMania, why you would make this matchup happen, and now we're looking at they're scrambling because of the negative chants, and they did this in Chicago. They had the guts to do this in Chicago, where they know if they didn't get the fans what they want, they were going to start booing. You're going to get CM Punk chants, you're going to get John Cena chants, or whatever else you're going to get. So it just doesn't make any sense to me why they would announce that Kurt Angle in his final farewell match is facing BaronCorbin. And really, it's on the WWE, too, because if they built BaronCorbin up throughout the year better, and he wasn't such, I don't know, some annoyance to us on television, maybe we would actually care more about this match. But they haven't done enough for me, in my opinion. And now BaronCorbin versus Kurt Angle, if that happens at WrestleMania, like, I'm taking a piss break. That it's a guarantee going to the bathroom, going to get something to eat.
You're going to miss Kurt Angle's last match to go pee?
Because I would much rather remember Kurt Angle for being the Kurt Angle in 2000, 2001, when I watched Kurt Angle with the 3 eyes, intensity, integrity, intelligence, when he was that good. Now this Kurt Angle is a shell of his former self. The only person that can get him back to that Kurt Angle is John Cena, in my opinion. And BaronCorbin is not a good enough ring general to be able to last with Kurt Angle. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It makes no common sense to me why they do it. And WrestleMania is just not looking good. And I'm not excited about 8 hours of wrestling, too. 8 hours is too much.
Eric, what are your thoughts on the Kurt Angle, BaronCorbin stuff?
I want to throw out my chair. I want to throw out my computer when I saw it.
Violent.
I was pretty pissed off, dude. But even my brother and me and him, we were having this discussion. My brother was just saying, what the hell is going on in wrestling right now? And that's one of the reasons why he's tuning out as of late. And for me, I don't know what's going on. It would have been better. Look, you can have your BaronCorbin, Kurt Angle match if you want. But at WrestleMania, do it on Raw, like the week before WrestleMania.
Fastlane.
Yeah, or Fastlane. Do that.
They've done it on Raw.
Yeah, settle their feud once and for all, and then after that, Kurt Angle can have his last match against Cena or whoever won. There was actually rumors that they want Undertaker to face Kurt Angle. That was.
That would be a match where you'd have like 13 botches and a couple broken bones from those old guys.
Well, Undertaker ain't little though, but
what did I say? Did I say
little guys?
Oh, I apologize. That's totally wrong.
The little guys.
I mean, Kurt Angle's kind of starting to become a little guy with that neck, but Undertaker's not. Undertaker's like 6'7".
Look, I think Undertaker should be paired up with Finn Balor in WrestleMania, and obviously, I'm not going to keep harping on this.
I don't think that's going to happen though.
But it looks like it's not going to happen. It looks like we're getting Demon Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley, which is not a need to bring out Demon.
Like Leo Rush.
To be honest.
What if he just doesn't? Because I think he can beat Bobby Lashley without being the Demon. What if the Demon just doesn't show up at WrestleMania? First of all,
he got him advertised on the WrestleMania poster, Nick.
Here's the thing. I thought RKJ Man, Eric. I thought RKJ Man would be mad if it wasn't Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey because he'd been preaching that since 2015 that match should be happening pretty much. How mad?
There's a thing
called bait and switch, so that might happen.
It was an over-exaggerated.
Jeez.
Yeah, but how mad are you going to be if the Demon doesn't show up at WrestleMania? Another piss break?
Another piss break.
Okay, there you go. Eric, what are your piss breaks?
You got to take as many breaks as possible. It's an 8-hour marathon of professional.
I just laugh
if Nia Jax comes out, that's when I'm going piss. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that might be like second or third match.
No, the battle royale. That's where I take a piss. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you
the
just come back.
Show,
I'm just gonna pee in my seat. That's I want to see the whole 8 hours of wrestling. I'm gonna pee in my seat. And just
I'm moving somewhere else, then, bro.
That's fine, man.
Potty, dude.
I'm falling somewhere else.
I'll sit on the end. I'll aim toward the other guy.
You're gonna aim towards the other.
I'm gonna aim for the ring.
Towards the WrestleMania logo. Aim towards the logo.
It's gonna shoot up.
I'm gonna shoot it. It's so stupid. This okay. We need to get back on topic. We just started talking peeing in my pants. So sorry. Back to Kurt Angle, BaronCorbin. Let me just get my thoughts on this real quick. I like you said, RKJ, man. I get why they're doing this match because BaronCorbin, maybe besides Drew McIntyre, has been the biggest thorn in Kurt Angle's side. He has bullied him. They fought as general managers, so it does make sense. But Eric, you're right in the fact that this match should have just happened earlier. And I would rather see his WrestleMania match against I would rather see it against like Apollo Crews or like Shelton Benjamin, someone that or Chad Gable, something like that, where it's just a match for him to go over and win easily. And it's a match for us to appreciate. But like, BaronCorbin now, I don't actually know if he's going to win the match, to be honest. I think BaronCorbin might go over since, a lot of the veteran wrestlers often lose matches. And I didn't really want to see that. I kind of wanted to just see Kurt win, but I guess that's why you have heels face, versus faces, because sometimes heels win. But yeah, this to me, Kurt still doesn't look very good in the ring anymore. And for me, it's whatever this match ends up being, it ends up being. But we'll stand up and we'll cheer Kurt Angle at the end, and I really don't care who his opponent is. Let's just say that. And I think the John Cena thing, it makes sense to get John Cena on the card, but it doesn't really make sense logistically why Kurt Angle would pick John Cena, because John Cena has nothing to do with the current product. It'd be like picking The Rock. And he's like, well, Rock's busy. He can't just come back for a match against Kurt Angle because Kurt Angle and John Cena have had a lot of history. They had history back in like 06, 05, but since then they haven't really crossed paths at all. So I don't really care. I don't really care who Kurt Angle faces. I just want to see him win. And the one gripe I have is I think BaronCorbin's going to beat him. So it's going to disappoint me a little bit. But.
Yeah, I mean, historically, if you're on your way out, you got to go out on your back, right? That's just the way it goes.
That's why I would have rather seen like Chad Gable or Apollo Crews or Shelton Benjamin, these wrestlers that, when I mean wrestlers, I mean like collegiate wrestlers, Olympic wrestlers that could tie in and make sense, and Kurt could shake their hand at the end. They could cry or do whatever they want. And then we cheer Kurt, and then he goes off in the sunset and we don't see him again, so. That's just all I thought, but it's whatever. This is a mid-card storyline anyway, so it doesn't like the Usos tag team match. I'm not looking forward to these matches. They're part of the card, and you're gonna watch them. But I'm looking forward to Becky and Ronda. I'm looking forward to Kofi. I'm looking forward to Brock Lesnar. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my take on it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but WrestleMania, I just don't feel like the build has been very good. I mean, if we weren't going there, if we were still here, and we were all watching the match from our homes, just chilling, personally, I don't know how excited I would be to watch WrestleMania. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania. I don't have that feeling of excitement. It's weird. I don't know what it is, but I think it's their lack of being able to just define these matches and define these storylines quicker. If we had these matches and storylines defined faster, and if we had time for it to breathe and build out, then maybe I would be excited for even a BaronCorbin versus Kurt Angle over time. But he announced it 3 weeks before WrestleMania, so we only got 2 Raws left. He's not appearing on SmackDown. What else are you going to do? I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they're putting on their best performance during their most profitable and their most important time of the year. Everybody and their moms are tuned into wrestling or some type of WrestleMania stuff when WrestleMania is around, and yet they're not doing their best. Like this Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte storyline, for instance. Why did Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair get kept off of Raw this past Monday night, 3 weeks before WrestleMania? We have yet to see really all three of them interact. And this, ever since this matchup has been official, we've yet to really see all three of them truly interact with each other, more than just Ronda Rousey beating Becky Lynch up and then Charlotte Flair trying to come in but not coming in anyway. So it just doesn't make any sense to me what they're doing with that storyline and just what their mentality is going into this WrestleMania. I'm not sure where they're going with it.
Well, I want to give some time to that storyline. I think it's probably time for us to do one of our segments to break off a little bit, because we've been pretty WrestleMania storyline heavy so far, and I think that's one. I mean, if you get what else do you guys want to talk about as far as WrestleMania goes on this specific podcast? Do we want to talk Rousey next? Are we talking about that whole storyline? Because I actually like a lot of the points you're making. I think it's strange that they're not on Raw, but I don't want to extend on too much, and then we don't have time for our segments. You know what I'm saying? So let's break it off. We'll get back to Rousey. We'll talk a little bit about UFC, a little bit about boxing in a second. But so why don't we do Ryan? Why don't we do? Or excuse me, RKJ man. Why don't we do your segment right now?
Mine's is really simple.
Yeah, it's simple. That's why I know we have an interesting thing for Eric's segment, so I want to main event that as far as our segment. So why don't you start with yours? Yours is pretty funny to me.
It's just, I've been watching March Madness for the past 2 days, and this restaurant keeps coming up on my screen. It's called Zaxby's. Okay, so I'm from the South. I'm from North Carolina, and I've had Zaxby's before, and they're competitions to your Chick-fil-A, your KFCs, your Popeyes, your Bojangles chicken and biscuits.
Making me hungry.
And they're pretty good, but the problem is there is zero Zaxby's located in the state of California. And not only that, the closest Zaxby's you'll find is in Texas somewhere. So, like, do I need to drive all the way over to Texas? It was okay to see those Zaxby's commercials during the ACC championships and SEC championships. Those are Southern-based conferences. So, obviously, you might see some of the South Carolina, North Carolina, Southern-type ads. But now we're getting Zaxby commercials when it's Ohio State versus Iowa State. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me why you would promote something like that you're never going to have for years, or if ever. It's kind of like these chicks on social media, going on social media, posting all these photos, and then all of a sudden, it's like what? Like, you can't do anything about it. So it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know why Zaxby keeps teasing us, but it needs to stop, man. And I'm the RKJ man, and I'm always shooting my shot for greatness.
Well, for Texas, I know somebody who can actually have that. The Black Beast, Derek Lewis, that's for sure.
Oh, he definitely has a lot of Zaxby's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Didn't he have Whataburger too, or something like that? I don't know.
Popeyes. He's a big fan of Popeyes. Yeah.
Black people in Popeyes. Whew, we love
everybody in Popeyes.
Oh yeah.
You get a couple football players in there, man. They'll eat the joint out.
Oh yeah.
No pun intended. I apologize for that little innuendo, but.
Didn't
mean it that way. Calm down, Eric. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's go. Let's do my segment. My segment's it's interesting too. Since you didn't necessarily rant, RKJ man, on that one, you kind of just delivered a grievance. I'll rant a little bit. I'll rant a little bit about something I saw Thursday. Another thing I saw during the March Madness tournaments. And it's not all of the picks I got wrong, which I've gotten a lot wrong. But it was the Michigan State game, and their historic coach, their legendary coach Tom Izzo, got into a battle, an argument with one of his players, a freshman. I forget the guy's name. Aaron Henry's the guy's name. And the crew on TV really kept showing this argument where Tom Izzo was lunging at this player and screaming at him, and the player was talking back, and now on social media today, we've just had a lot of people give these opinions about a coach yelling at a player that I just feel like are very, very wrong. And I feel like it's coming from a lot of people that didn't have to deal with hard-nosed, tough coaches when they were younger. I mean, I remember when I was a football player, every single one of my football coaches screamed in my face if I went off sides, or they screamed in my face if I held a guy, or I screamed in my face if I threw an interception, something like that. So I didn't care. It was a way to learn discipline. Even one of my baseball coaches, and you can talk to every single one of my friends about this that played on that team. I had a coach that was literally insane when I was like 12 years old. Like, this guy got kicked out of a football program.
Was he Frank Martin insane?
Maybe more insane, because he was only at the high school level and wasn't famous, so he could do whatever he wanted. But this guy got in trouble. I'm not going to say his name, but this guy got in trouble at a high school for hitting a football player in the head with his helmet on, and just being too physical with the players. And he ended up being my baseball coach. So you can imagine what that was like. He just screamed. He almost caused fights a couple times. It was great. But I grew up with these guys. Even my high school baseball coach was notoriously an intimidating guy who wasn't afraid to yell at you, wasn't afraid to punish you. And I just see all these stupid, prissy people on social media complaining about a coach yelling at a player. A coach like Tom Izzo, who's legendary, who has, championship after championship and has so many wins and so many great teams. He can't yell at his player when his player talks back? A freshman? Are you kidding me? Like, I just think that's not even bad. I've seen guys hit guys before. Like, it's just...
I mean, Bob Knight,
Bob Knight threw a chair across the court. Bob Knight threw a chair across the court, and they make 30 for 30 documentaries about it. It's a bunch of people who, like, I don't know, because don't we all, for the NBA, want it to go back to the 90s, like the Bad Boys, when they used to clothesline each other and get in massive brawls? Like, now these fights in the NBA are like a couple of guys squaring up and then like bumping chests.
Rarely.
And like fake fighting. Right? Like, even Joel Embiid and Marcus Smart the other night, like Marcus Smart fully shoved Joel Embiid almost into the first row, and Embiid ran at him and then held himself back. Like,
well, that's because the fines are a lot worse than they were back in the day.
Guys back then, but you're telling me that as a fan, you didn't want to see Joel Embiid just throw a right hand at Marcus Smart?
Oh no, I love a good fight. I've said this. I love it.
Like, I mean, you saw a fight. Remember, Nick? Fight
exactly. I saw a fight. One of the last basketball games I announced for my community for Saddleback. There was a fight where a guy kicked the guy after a play while they were on the ground. I was excited. I was ready to get in the fight myself.
You were almost there in the fight. Almost.
I was literally, I pissed off everybody at the scorer's table because I put the mic over at the scorer's table to the referee when he talked to something.
You did an NBA on TNT thing.
I was like, I'm Reggie Miller. No, I got TNT. Get the referee's deal. I want him to come over, but he just didn't know who I was. But so I just don't understand why the media for sports promotes like this weird, like, fake version of how sports actually are all the time. Yeah. When like the players and the fans think in an exact opposite way. I just don't understand how that ends up being. And it's just very strange. I don't like it. There's a lot of things that piss me off on social media, especially with a day like today where, certain news came out. And it's just like all these people just saying blasphemous nonsense, which they absolutely would not say unless they had a social media presence and wanted to look good. It's like all these people apologizing for comments they made when they were like 14. So you made them when you're 14, you're not that person anymore. We all understand, right? So it's just that was just a little gripe I had. So, let's let the coaches coach. Let's let the players play, and let's stop commenting on every little tiny thing that happens during the games.
Well, I did see it, but
you just were like, whatever, right?
I saw it and I was just like, it's March Madness. Like, even like
they were losing too.
And I work at a job where it's high pressure, high intense, and I've sometimes you get into the moment and you're kind of like, no, I
yeah.
And then like you get into the moment, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like you're kind of like getting intense and everything's intense. But once you cool down and cool heads prevail and it's over with, you talk it down and you move forward. I just think it was just a player and a coach just going at it in an intense moment. The coach is stressed out because he has to find a way. He doesn't want to get beat by this 15 seed, and everybody's picking Michigan State to at least get to the Elite Eight. Nick, you got them to beat us, I think, right?
No. I have Duke in the finals. There's no way I'm saying. There's no way. The only team that's beaten Duke this year is North Carolina. That's the only team that's beaten Duke.
North Carolina had a sketchy game against Iona today, but
I know.
I think at the end of the day, it's two players getting into it. I thought it was a little intense. Now, what I didn't like from Coach Izzo, is the wagging of the finger. I wasn't a big fan of that. Like, why you got to wag your finger in the face? And him lunging was a little bit too much. Like, he lunged, and they had to hold him back like he was going to go and choke him. I was like, come on, bro. You're taking this a little bit.
Let him choke him then.
I mean, like, you're taking this a little too far.
But here's the thing. If he didn't actually choke him, then nothing happened. Actually,
hold on. Let me
punch the guy in the face outside the bar.
So,
go ahead.
If these players get paid all this money, they get paid. If these players don't get paid any money, they don't get paid.
I was going to say, what
I'm sorry.
What do you know?
Sorry. They don't get paid any money, and these coaches get paid all the money, and they get all this power. Don't you think that's got to frustrate a player a little bit?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's got to piss off a player just a little bit? Yeah. So, I mean, if the player wants to blow off a little steam, let him do it, but you got to correct him. I liked what that coach did tonight. I forgot who the coach was. I forgot if it was Iona or whoever it was, but the player got into it, and the coach, I think it was Liberty or something, the player got into it with his coach, and the coach was like, get out of my huddle. He literally told him, get out of my huddle. He made him sit down on the bench. He was like, no, we're not going over this. In the words of Chris Webber, he's like, we're not going over this because we've talked about it a million times. I don't have time anymore in the heat of battle to try to tell you what's going on with the play. You can't be making those bad decisions on the court. And Henry made a bad decision. If Tom Izzo would have done that, and then what the coach did later on tonight is he went beside the player, talked to him, put his arm around him, put him back in the game after 30 seconds, and the player went down and hit a three. You know what I'm saying? So clearly that type of coaching works. Coach K very rarely gets that upset.
Yeah, exactly. Good example.
And he's the greatest coach of all time in college basketball, in my opinion. So
yeah, how often does Bill Belichick get like super mad at his players? Never.
Very rarely.
Yeah.
If he's cussing him out, it's probably in private, which is why the Patriots are so good. They don't air their grievances. They don't show any type of, very rarely do you see the Patriots getting into it with each other in public. I mean, that's why we blow it up when it happens in public.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think these types of things should be kept in private. And on top of that, there are certain ways you can do it. But at the end of the day, it's a player and a coach going at it. I mean, Tom Izzo gets paid a lot of money. Henry gets paid nothing. I mean, he barely got enough money probably to go to McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
Or to go to Zaxby's after that.
Zaxby's.
Yeah.
Go to Zaxby's. Yeah. That's 200 miles away from Michigan. So it's like,
I would be pissed too, right?
Yeah.
All you want to do is go to Zaxby's.
Yeah, I want that honey butter biscuit or that honey butter chicken sandwich or something they got going on.
No, exactly. I mean, wouldn't that make you mad too? Not only is your coach screaming at you, but you're just thinking about Zaxby's 200 miles away the whole time while you're in the game, and then your coach gets in your face.
Ooh,
Come on,
man.
man. Of course you're gonna talk back.
Especially Chick-fil-A's closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, all right. Let's move off of it. But I want to get you guys' take on that because I know that we all kind of experience probably like that tough love or that tough coaching when we played.
I get it from my brother all the time, but
Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, me and my brother argue all the time. Me and coaches have argued.
Bosses have argued, but it's not like I hate them. It's just you're competing. You just want to be the best, and some of that is good sometimes because that means you care. If he was like, do whatever, that means you don't care. That means it's like we don't care about you.
Look at what Mike Tomlin did with Antonio Brown. He said he told him to go home, and Antonio Brown felt like that wasn't he didn't care anymore about Antonio Brown, so he ended up leaving, asking for a trade, and he gets traded to the Raiders to a coach that actually cares about him.
Terrible practice facility though, apparently.
Well, Oakland.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's a first-hand source for me. Yeah. Oakland Raiders have the worst practice facility. There's an old chair outside that's like weathered outside the place. I swear. All right, let's move on. Let's get back to Rousey, and Becky Lynch and Charlotte. speaking of a couple of people that yell at each other and don't respect authority, this Ronda Rousey thing is very interesting because, the one thing I disagree with you on the fact that I'm not excited about. I don't know if you said that. I'm definitely excited about this triple threat match because if Ronda Rousey does go rogue, whether it's kayfabe or not, that is it's very unbeatable. And so I don't know how Becky or Charlotte is going to win the match if Ronda just does whatever the hell she wants. She literally could kill those two if she wanted to. So I'm very interested in it. I don't like the fact that the build has kind of tapered off, which as far as the rivalry goes before WrestleMania, it's kind of about Ronda Rousey and then it's about Charlotte versus Becky, which is I don't like that. But I am excited about the match because the perspectives of a triple threat match, no rules, no disqualifications, anything goes with Ronda Rousey's, attitude at the current moment. I am excited about that. But the build is very, very weird. And I am interested to see when they are going to connect the actual competitors back together,
I don't know why 3 weeks from WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey's defending her championship against Dana Brooke. It makes
because you saw sense. What happened, bro. She beat her in 15 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. And then, she beat her in 15 seconds. And then when Dana Brooke was still in the armbar, guess who should have came down? Becky Lynch.
True.
She should have came down, and then that's when we create this heat. But there was no Becky Lynch. There was no Charlotte Flair. It was just security getting beat up. And the only person stopping her was her husband, Travis Brown.
Who also beat up a security guard.
That forearm he gave that security guard was brutal.
Bro. Yeah.
It was stiff.
Yeah, it was stiff. He doesn't know kayfabe, man.
That's a real shot that he gave.
I mean, I don't know what was going on there, but I just think them not having these three interact 3 weeks before WrestleMania. It's 2 weeks before WrestleMania now. What are we gonna have? What are we gonna do? I mean, this is for me becoming one of the worst build WrestleManias of all time. It doesn't mean the show can't deliver. WrestleMania 17, in my opinion, and I've said this multiple times, I think WrestleMania 17 is the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And it had a crappy build with The Rock and Austin. But you could make up for it because you had the two biggest superstars in the industry going off against one another.
Well, and that's kind of what's happening now, too, because Ronda Rousey is top 3 in the company as far as most popular people, probably. It might be number 1, to be honest. And then you have Becky and Charlotte, who for wrestling fans are very, very popular as well. So I think that's actually what I'm trying to echo, is that we know the match is going to be good, but the build has definitely disappointed after what we saw at Survivor Series and the perspectives of this whole thing. It's been a very weird build, and again, I don't even think Charlotte should be in this at all.
Yeah. She should be facing Asuka. Asuka is doing nothing. They've got some crappy fatal 4-way. They got a crappy fatal 4-way match next week to determine the number 1 contender at WrestleMania. I think it's Naomi, Carmella, and Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
What?
That is your fatal 4-way match to determine who's going to be the number 1 contender for Asuka at WrestleMania. So that matchup is definitely going on.
Yeah, Eric, that's a piss break.
That is the definition of one, and that's the definition of a pre-show match.
Unless Mandy Rose wins the match. Mandy Rose, I'm not taking a piss break during Mandy Rose's match. I apologize. Of course, I'm with Xavier or whatever his name is, Corey Graves. I'm with Mandy on this one. If Mandy's there, I'm there.
No, if Carmella's there. If Carmella's there, you're there. Allegedly for Corey Graves.
You know, too, especially now. Those two out in the ring. It's a little different now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's terrible. We're not going to talk about that because that sucks. But so, what's our predictions? What do we think happens? Specifically next week, but we can kind of go for the rest of the time. What happens with this feud? Where does this go with Ronda Rousey kind of taking over the show? How are they gonna? Because I think Charlotte and Becky's pretty self-explanatory. I want to definitely get your guys' take on this whole Ronda Rousey kind of taking over the show, doing whatever she wants, now intervening her husband into stuff, who is a very dangerous man, very big, heavyweight UFC fighter, one of the most dangerous guys in the building, in any building he walks into. I if this is real, I'm very intimidated by these two, right? I'm very afraid for my safety if I'm in the company, because you're dealing with two killers here, almost literally. And so, what do we think happens? Does Ronda Rousey get reprimanded? Does she possibly not even have the WrestleMania match because of what she's done? Like, what happened? I'm just throwing out every possible thing because with the recent build, you really don't know what's going to happen. What do we see happen? Eric, what do you think it goes on with this storyline? What do you think happens before WrestleMania?
The worst thing that they can do for Ronda Rousey and for Travis Brown. For Travis, I can see him being banned from the building from 2 weeks before WrestleMania. And I think if Travis gets himself involved again, he'll probably be banned from WrestleMania or maybe future wrestling events, And for Ronda Rousey, like, the worst thing that can happen is for Ronda to get fined, or maybe Stephanie get herself involved too. Again,
Stephanie should cheat at WrestleMania. She should cheat at WrestleMania to screw Ronda Rousey. If they're going to involve her, that's what you do.
Because then it doesn't mean anything when Becky Lynch wins, because it's like she got the help of Stephanie, and nobody likes Stephanie McMahon.
Well, of course. I mean, like, if nobody likes her, then, and nobody likes Ronda either, then you have two unlikable characters, and they kind of gel well together for some reason, even though we may not like it. And maybe we might see them in the future again, paired up with Stephanie and Ronda Rousey. I think so. But as of now,
you said the thing about Travis Brown. Extend on that a little bit. So if Travis Brown is not allowed at WrestleMania, if Travis Brown is not allowed to be involved in the storyline, what does Ronda do? What does Ronda then do? Like, what happens with Ronda in the next 2 weeks?
She should get a lawyer. Just kidding. R. Kelly's lawyer.
No, you need OJ's lawyers, man. Yeah. They got locked. Yeah. Right? Yeah. No. But so what should Ronda realistically do? What's going to happen here?
I think maybe Ronda, she'll probably, if Travis does get banned from wrestling events, I think that Ronda will probably find ways to try to get Travis back, or maybe somewhere along the lines. I know it's going to sound crazy, but maybe have Travis have him wrestle.
That's what I'm hearing.
In a tag team match.
Yeah.
Mixed match chat.
Oh, you're saying later on?
Later on. Not WrestleMania, but I think later on, yeah.
So you think you think the addition of him wasn't to juice up Ronda's character and help this week? You think he's going to be involved at WrestleMania? You think something's going to go down with him?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I can see that. I'm still skeptical on it. I think he might have just been there as a prop to help make Ronda look more like a badass this week. But I mean, to have that threat on the outside, if you're Becky, I mean, what's he gonna do? Give a forearm to Becky? Like, I don't think
or knock her out.
We've had it happen already. I mean, for me personally,
we're gonna have a Snooki moment in that case, bro.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, from what I'm hearing, obviously, first of all, I'm hearing that Travis Brown has met with Fox and may be doing something with SmackDown in the future, probably when they make that move to Fox.
Kind of like that.
Yeah. For me personally, with this whole Ronda Rousey thing is just their idea of her exit, pretty much, because we're hearing the rumors that she wants to have a baby with Travis Brown. She wants to start a family. She wants to do all this stuff. So this is her going up against the grain, and I think it's going to come to a head the night after WrestleMania when she loses her title. She's just going to go over the line and do something so bad where Stephanie's going to say you're suspended for a year, or you're indefinitely suspended for whatever reason. And we're not going to see Ronda Rousey because she's going to be too busy making babies with Travis Brown. So, I mean, that is where I think the storyline, it's scary. That is where the storyline is headed, in my opinion. But I just wonder, what this does for Becky, because she's not going to essentially get a clean win one-on-one against Ronda Rousey. She's going to get some type of fluky win because Charlotte Flair was involved in the match. I personally...
Yeah, I'm afraid of that too.
So what I think, and you got to think too, the crowd's going to be absolutely exhausted. 8 hours, okay, of WrestleMania. What I think...
Well, that's a rumor. It's not. That's not for sure. I think it's 7. I mean, last year's
7 hours or 8 hours. 7 hours is still long.
Well, but it's not. It's 5. It's a 5-hour show with a couple matches sprinkled into the pre-match card. I mean, it's really a 5-hour show, and you don't really have to be there until you're not going to miss much if you get there at exactly 5:00 Eastern time in New York. Like when we went to Survivor Series. If we would have showed up right when the show started, we didn't miss anything. Right now, WrestleMania is different, but you don't actually. It's not 7 full hours of wrestling. It's 5 hours of wrestling. If they do that, they could still do 4. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's 5 hours of wrestling with a couple matches sprinkled in the very beginning when half the crowd's over there. So, I think people will get tired. I don't think it's going 6 hours. 6 hours that's too long. That's I don't think they would do that. They know that's 2 Monday Night Raws. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to happen.
2.5 Monday Night Raws that they do 8 hours. That's almost 3 Monday Night Raws.
That's exhausting.
That's 4 SmackDown Lives, man.
That's 4 SmackDown Lives. Think about it. You have an equivalent of a month worth of SmackDown Live shows in one WrestleMania.
That's it. That's insane. They could rebuild the Kofi storyline during WrestleMania.
Yeah.
They could. During each hour, it's the obstacle he has to go to.
Yeah.
They kind of did that with John Cena.
They make an announcement in the very beginning. Go, okay, we know we screwed up. We're just gonna redo this. We're gonna sprinkle in some matches like Batista and Triple H in the middle, but we're redoing the Kofi case, so he's gonna end up winning at the end. But just let us go through it, and we'll all just be like, "That's fine." Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you know what? You bring up a good point. Kofi winning at the end. What do we think is the main event of WrestleMania 35 right now? Because I'm feeling like this Kofi Kingston storyline has got so many people invested in the main event, in it that it should be the main event. But then you got Travis Brown on Ronda Rousey's channel earlier today or whenever it was, maybe a day ago, saying, a lot of people are talking about whether this is the main event. Like, they all know it's the main event. Like, of course this is the main event.
I think it is the main event.
Yeah,
it's the most popular superstar in the company. Against 2 of the other most popular it'd be like putting John Cena, Randy Orton, and Triple H in a match. Like they're going to be in the main event.
That wasn't the main event though. That WrestleMania, it was the Undertaker and Edge.
Well, that's without the Undertaker. Let's
without the Undertaker.
The Undertaker at WrestleMania should be the main event. To be honest, every single time, especially those last couple of years, he should have been the main event every time. But I do think that you bring 3 of the biggest stars. Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston aren't the biggest stars in the company. You can't put them in the main event. It would make sense to us wrestling fans, but for the casual fans, they'd be like, all right, who's this random skinny dude that's facing this weird guy with a beard? It's has a pot belly. They'd be like, that's the main event of wrestling. I'm not watching this ever again. Right? But you see they're like, oh, we know who Ronda Rousey is. Ronda Rousey was 9-0 and beat everybody's ass in UFC.
Oh, we know who Brock Lesnar is.
Yeah. No, well, that's true. That could also be the main event, but that's also a shorter match. So you talk about tired crowd. You talk about tired crowd. I think that match is a little quicker, faster paced, and you could make that the main event as well. But you got Ronda Rousey, who everyone knows, Charlotte Flair, the name most people will know, and then you have this Becky Lynch, who. If you show the pre-match little video and people will know, okay, this makes sense, why she's here, So I think that's the main event. I'd put all my money on it. That's the main event. That's how I think it's the main event. They build it. They've had a lot of main events on Raw and SmackDown involving those 2, and that generally also shows what the main event's going to be too.
Well, maybe it would be cooler if Ronda Rousey showed up on SmackDown one of these weeks.
True.
Because if she showed up on SmackDown and said, hey, I don't care what show I don't care anymore about being on Raw. I'm just going to go on SmackDown and dominate. You can do a lot of things. You can even tease Ronda Rousey versus Asuka down the line if Ronda Rousey stays. So, and plus, we're hearing rumors that Fox wants Ronda Rousey on SmackDown.
Well, they want Brock too. Yeah,
they want Brock. They want Ronda Rousey.
They want everybody because they're trying to. I mean, I was watching the Clippers Cavaliers game today a little bit. Once Duke started whooping that team's ass today, I switched over to the NBA, and literally the Clippers announcer Ralph Lawler did a promo for SmackDown in the fall. No joke. It's the first promo I've seen Fox do. It was a Clipper game on Fox Sports West, and they had a SmackDown Live ad. It was insane.
A lot of and by the way, I hate this is our weekly AEW segment where we talk a little bit about AEW. Man, if you're AEW, man, where are you right now?
I know, what the hell?
Where are you? This is the most important time of the year, and you're nowhere to be found. Really? And Double or Nothing is coming up immediately, almost after WrestleMania, like a month after WrestleMania.
It's May, right?
2 months. It's
May 25th.
It's almost in June. It's almost in June. It's not. It's 2 months away. It's a proper enough distance from WrestleMania to where people forgot about WrestleMania. So it's actually kind of smart booking.
But I mean, it's just for me, with WWE going to Fox and having this big deal, and there is no AEW deal that we've seen yet, and then the WWE booking Tampa Bay next year for WrestleMania. Right in AEW's territory, right down the street from Jacksonville.
Vince doesn't care, man.
Vince does not. Vince is he's like, if you want a war, I mean, I'll take it to you. I don't know. I mean, AEW is. I'm excited about them, and I want them to do well, and I want them to be successful. But where is the television product? Where is the constant build for this thing? It just seems like they realized that they were just going to get destroyed because it's Mania season. So they were like, after Mania season, then we'll start promoting our stuff. But, I mean, I don't know. Getting back to this whole thing, I mean, this WWE to SmackDown thing is very, very important. So why not have Ronda Rousey on SmackDown Live this week or the week before WrestleMania, 5 days before WrestleMania? Have her show up and just destroy everybody. And then we could do all three of them battling each other, and
you could also cheat and do building on both shows. So you know how we've been kind of complaining that they haven't been building, and now there's 2 weeks left. Well, technically, they could build a month's worth of stuff on every show for the next 2 weeks, right? You could. So maybe that's what they're actually going to do. Maybe that's actually the formula here, is that we're going to be talking about this storyline next week around this time. And we're going to be saying, oh, yeah, Rousey was on both shows. They really built up this match now. We're super excited. We can finally get the RKJ man excited about WrestleMania. And,
I mean, I'm excited about the events.
We'll take a piss break, man.
JD from New York, I watch his stuff. And, he made a great point. I don't always agree with JD from New York. I don't. But I'm not one of those people who
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's a podcaster who has 107,000 subscribers on YouTube. But, he made a point. He said WrestleMania is not even the biggest thing anymore during WrestleMania weekend. People are more excited about connecting with people, the various wrestling shows, the events that go on around that weekend, more than the event itself.
It's okay. Just I have to disagree with that, dude, because none of that stuff would happen if WrestleMania didn't exist. So I think that's completely wrong. People definitely still care about WrestleMania the most on that weekend. But because of WrestleMania and its popularity, people could do other things. NXT is always great. That card's looking really good. We'll probably talk about that next week. The build for that.
I still want to go to it. Whew.
I know I'm getting in late now. My stupid flight because just certain things have happened. But
That's from Bryce Harper over here.
Yes, exactly. That's a good one. But so. There is a lot of stuff going on, but WrestleMania is still it is the reason it kind of finishes off. The WWE still finishes off the weekend, and it's not, people are excited about WrestleMania and then Raw and then, SmackDown, but you're excited about the WWE stuff. You're not excited once the Ring of Honor show at Madison Square Garden, NXT, whatever the hell else is going on there, Joey Ryan's penis party.
I'm not going to know.
People aren't more invested. They're invested in WrestleMania the most. I disagree with JD.
I mean,
it's for us, all three of us,
it's great for us. It's what we look forward to. It's what, it's one of the reasons why we're going there is to meet with people, connect with people. But, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, I mean, WrestleMania is the end all be all of this weekend. And I mean, that's why I get disappointed when I feel like the WWE isn't doing enough, because this is your most profitable time of the year. This is by far the most important time of the year. So if you're not doing enough to promote your biggest show and you're treating it like a regular episode of Raw or SmackDown, don't expect the fans to be excited about it. And I'm not excited about it yet. Finn Balor should be facing The Undertaker. Where is that match? Why is Kurt Angle facing Baron Corbin? Why is he not facing John Cena? It fits perfectly with John Cena's schedule if he's going to show up at WrestleMania. Apparently, his schedule isn't free until a week before WrestleMania. He could show up a week before to create heat. These matches, this undercard, and the Batista Triple H thing, it's exciting, but it's like,
it's kind of built at the last minute. It's built. That's even built for what it should be. They needed to build that 2 or 3 weeks before they did.
Yeah, I mean, there needed to be more heat, and now I think the reason why they're not getting physical is because Triple H is still rehabbing his injury, and he won't be ready until around WrestleMania time for sure. So that kind of forces them to be a little bit different with how they tell this storyline too. And I don't even feel like they're even touching on that storyline as much as they could. They could talk about 2014, how he left, how they didn't think he was going to be anything with Guardians of the Galaxy, and now he's a big time movie star. He
kind of said that. He kind of mentioned that on Raw. I just think Batista's schedule is very busy and he can't be at every single show. And I think even he's been kind of portraying this character that is too big to be at a stupid Monday Night Raw taping, right?
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. That's what I'm saying. Eric, I wish they would have just started this 3 weeks prior. And someone attacked Ric Flair and we didn't know who it was, right? Yeah. And then maybe 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, we find out it's Batista, and it's like, oh, man. You serious? And Batista's back? And then you had this whole build,
I mean, they've all feuded with each other. Everybody from Evolution has feuded with each other, but it's like, I mean, these guys are 50 now, and I wonder how good of a match they can legitimately put on.
Well, I think also with that injury, too, to Triple H, because there's no way he's 100% healthy. I'm just saying that right now, being an older guy. The older you get, the harder it is to rehab injuries. And so I think that's one of the reasons it's also no holds barred, is because you can kind of do stuff without worrying about using your full strength, right? Triple H just needs to wield a chair around the whole time. Batista, who's probably not in ring shape as far as like wrestling moves go, he can just use weapons. The occasional hit, he gets his stuff in, right? Spine buster, shakes the ropes, Batista bomb, clotheslines, all that. I kind of forget what he used to do because he's quit like 7 times. But, I honestly can't think of his moveset. But so
I heard his theme song on the way to work one day. Yeah. Still fire.
I'm not listening to it on purpose so that when we hear it in MetLife Stadium, it's like, oh, let's go.
Oh, dude, it's good when you work out. That song definitely, whenever I give the lift, oh boy. It's
that Eric hits the bag to Aleister Black's music for sure.
Well, I actually can't do it because they put a freaking lock on that stereo. And I'm guessing they were aware of the fact that we were using our iPods and our phones. And I'm guessing some of the trainers or the people who work there, they put a lock on that stereo, and we can't.
Eric, there's things called headphones you can wear when you're
you get distracted, dude. Like whenever I hit the bag, like
this dude is committed. This dude is committed to hitting this bag, man.
This dude needs AirPods, man. He needs AirPods.
You need the wireless Beats. That's what you need.
No, he needs AirPods. The AirPods are better.
What's an AirPod?
I'll see what I can do.
You don't know what the AirPods are?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
My God!
Tell me about an AirPod.
Wait a minute. The Arcade David doesn't know what. That's the name of the podcast, by the way.
AirPods?
What are AirPods?
No, it's Mania Madness.
No, it's not. It's what are
Mania
AirPods.
Madness. That's why we can hashtag March Madness in this.
Eric, what's the name of the podcast?
AirPods.
Yeah, exactly. Damn right.
Oh, come on, man.
AirPods Mania. AirPods Mania. That's what it's called. No, I mean we just got so off topic. I don't even know what the hell we were talking about anymore. We're talking about my last point on this, because I think we do need to move on. My last point on this thing was that I think with them having a no holds barred match, that does protect them, both of them, and it will make them look better than they actually should look.
Yeah, I guess. Real quickly, just to get you guys' thoughts before we move on. What do you guys think about the Seth Rollins Brock Lesnar thing? What do you think about Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre? Drew McIntyre issued the challenge to Roman Reigns. I'm actually okay with that match, but
Eric, which one do you want to answer? But we do need to move on. Which one do you want to? I'll answer one. You answer the other.
Just to be brief about it, I just rather have McIntyre go over than Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and have Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. Same old. I'm seeing Seth Rollins doing the matches, and then Brock Lesnar shows up whenever he wants. And then I'm pretty sure at towards WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar comes in, beats the living hell out of Seth Rollins, and then the last week of before WrestleMania, Seth Rollins, attacks him, gets him back, and then we culminate to WrestleMania. There.
Yeah, they gotta get creative. Because look, Eric just literally read the script. That's what's gonna happen.
That's the script.
Brock
the script.
They're gonna go back and forth
too. Based on the way they're booking it, Brock should win. Why should Seth win? Because he's friends with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had a leukemia. That's really the only reason why Seth should win.
Why is your Royal Rumble winner, who's the challenger for Brock Lesnar, losing 3 weeks before WrestleMania? That's my question. They let him lose to a Claymore kick. If anything, he fakes out the Claymore kick, does the curb stomp, beats him, looks down Brock Lesnar, with Brock Lesnar still laughing, saying, "I almost got you there, and I'm just going to get you at WrestleMania."
Well, I think they want. I think what I would expect is after WrestleMania, it's McIntyre and Rollins to have a feud. I expect that to be, because if Rollins
one of them is going to Raw or SmackDown, somebody's going to SmackDown.
If Rollins is Mr. Monday Night, though, I don't think he's leaving Raw. So and McIntyre has
going to put Reigns on SmackDown.
Yeah.
You going to put Roman Reigns on SmackDown?
You can now, because it's different with Roman Reigns. It's different.
Because people actually like him, because he overcame. That was not Roman Reigns, by the way, guys. That was Joe.
Yeah,
Joe made that recovery.
McIntyre called him out. I actually liked that little promo. My mom was like, she was watching it, and she was saying, wow, they'll just say anything on these shows.
Say it again. What did Drew McIntyre say again? I can't remember.
He just called him Joe, and it was like, if you think beating leukemia was hard, try beating me at WrestleMania, which doesn't make any sense, because leukemia obviously is way harder to beat than Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a bit, right? Just a bit.
That's a bit.
Yeah, but so I did like that promo. And as far as Brock and Seth goes, it'll be interesting the way they do the match, but that build has been horrible too. So that's another reason why, But we'll move on. I'll let them do their thing. Brock can show up whenever he wants. We can't expect stuff to happen every single week, so it's whatever. All right, so let's do this. I think we're gonna end the show off with this last segment, because
no UFC talk today.
We're gonna do indie. We're gonna do Eric's indie update, and then we're gonna. There's a UFC. There's a couple UFC fights happening this weekend, but it's not really anything we need to talk about. We can just talk. It's Anthony Pettis versus Stephen Thompson. There's no title ramifications. Curtis Blades is on the card too, but it's not a very good UFC card, so I'm not going to watch that. And really, there's really no. I talked about the boxing on the 15-minute time limit too, so I don't need to mention that either. So, let's get in Eric's indie segment, indie update, and we'll end the show with the thing we're going to do. So, Eric, go ahead.
Okay, so for Impact Wrestling, Alley Impact is done with Impact Wrestling and is heading to AEW.
She signed an exclusive contract?
Looks like it. She's already now AEW.
They announced it on the thing, yeah.
Yeah, so she's now part of it, so we'll probably be seeing her at Double or Nothing. For Black Craft Wrestling, since we're going to be around the Jersey area, No Apologies event is held over at the White Eagle Hall in Jersey City, April 5th, Friday. So be on the lookout, wrestling fans out there, for New Jersey. Check it out, whatever you can. Johnny Mundo, I think he's going to be there. So, yeah, check it out. Here's a good one. Remember our good friend James Ellsworth?
Oh, no way. You haven't signed him?
No.
He made a surprise return at this promotion called UCW in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This was back in March 10th. So, yeah, there's actually a video of him.
That's like 2 weeks ago. That's not that long ago. Yeah.
I know. I mean, I didn't even know how he got there, but this is actually the first time he made an appearance ever since back in November, and I'm pretty sure we all know.
Man, that news quieted down fast, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
These guys like R. Kelly and Michael Jackson are back in the news. Nobody cares about James Ellsworth anymore.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Speaking of, I'll tell you somebody who has good lawyers. It must be Corey Graves, because we have heard nothing about the Corey Graves Carmella thing in a while.
Well, yeah, it's looking like that might have been a lie by his wife because they're getting divorced.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly. We'll see what happens. I'm pretty sure something's going to come out, but apparently in one of the text messages, allegedly, Corey Graves stated to his wife, WWE is going to sue you or something like that. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it looks weird.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. With Corey Graves, he's just getting – I know he's going to be on Ryan Rant's one day. I'm pretty sure he's going to –
He's already been on Ryan Rant's. One of the most,
twice.
One day. It's like it'd be 13 days.
No, he's going to be on Ryan Rant's – no, Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I've already created it.
Who else is going in the Hall of Fame?
Who else is going in the Hall of Fame? Not Nia Jax. Let's see.
Kelly's already in it.
R. Kelly's in it. Let's see.
Nia Jax is in it.
If Cam Newton doesn't watch out, he'll be in it. If he doesn't win us a Super Bowl soon. I don't know. I haven't really.
Priscilla Kelly's in it. For sure.
Priscilla Kelly's definitely in it. Like, we're gonna see her at WrestleCon, and like, hopefully.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be explosive! I can't wait.
How about Enzo or Real One, Enzo Amore?
Real One is starting to actually like.
I agree.
Really?
Yeah,
dude. I think he got screwed by the WWE. I think he actually kind of got screwed by them. You see that shoot interview? That's what we're talking about. The shoot interview. He knows the business, and he really has some good ideas. And I just think because he couldn't wrestle in the ring and they didn't really give him a chance, I think he ended up kind of getting screwed. He still acts like an idiot, but I think...
Oh, he definitely acts like an idiot.
He definitely has some intelligence to why he acts that way, and it makes sense. So I can't be mad at the guy for that.
But he's still not... he's still holding on to his wrestling WWE career when he wants to establish his own thing. Like, even the Enzo hat is a play off the NWO. So come on. If you want to get away from wrestling, if you want to get away from the WWE, that's fine. But don't go to the events and try to hijack the events and have the Enzo hat kind of mimicking NWO and doing all that stuff. Like, if you're going to be away from the WWE, be away from it. You know what I'm saying? But, maybe the pocket just isn't as big as it used to be when he was in WWE. That's why he's taking these shoot interviews. Maybe that's how it is right now. And we understand it. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also the phrase beta male bitch should also be in the Hall of Fame for Ryan Rantz as well. For sure. Because I think you've used that for sure.
I mean, I'm not going to use it unless it gets really serious, unless I'm really ticked off.
Ryan Rantz, yeah.
But R. Kelly definitely going in. Corey Graves definitely going into the Hall of Fame.
Priscilla Kelly, yeah.
Priscilla Kelly, Nia Jax. Those are my top 4 right now.
Okay.
Those are my top 4 2019 inductees into the Hall of Fame.
So for right now, the Jericho Cruise, since the Jericho Cruise will be coming in January, these are the names that are announced for right now. Booker T and Sharmell and Shaw Guerrero, who happen to be the daughter of the late, great Eddie Guerrero, are now part of this.
For WOW, too, right?
Yes.
For what?
I think she does.
Wow, Women of Wrestling. That's a promotional material subject.
Yeah.
So they're announcing the Jericho Cruise for January, and so be on the lookout for more people or more stars to be included. I think the Wolfpack, Six-Pac, X-Pac, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, they're announced too. So I think they're going to be announcing more. Yeah. So
I'd love to be on a cruise with those 3.
So yeah, be on the lookout for more names to be announced. And I know before we get to the bracket, before we get to the bracket, I know that I want to give a shout out to my good buddy Sal Durantes, who I work out with him, and he wanted a dream match, and the dream match that he wanted was this powerlifter that he looks up to, and he actually wrestled back in the late 80s, late 80s, and he wrestled against Kevin Nash. Went back when Kevin Nash went by the name of Oz, and it was Oz versus
WCW.
Yeah, Oz versus Bill Kazmaier. He's Bill Kazmaier. He's one of the top guys at the time who was a powerlifter. That guy was a monster, and he wanted Bill Kazmaier to take on Mark Henry. So two powerlifters.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, two powerlifters going at it. So South Toronto's definitely, we'd like to see that match, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we might see it in the future. But that's all for right now.
That's a good match.
All right, so so you usually do your dream match segment, but since we're gonna kind of talk about a couple here, we wanted to save it for the end here. So on our Ring Generals Twitter, the RKJ Man released a bracket, and you can kind of do whatever you want with this bracket. You can do your favorite superstar. Although you don't really need a bracket to pick your favorite superstar. So I think we decided to do it by someone's talent, how the match would go, who would go over. And so we all ended up actually with 4 different Final Fours, 4 different kind of matches based on how our brackets went. So we're gonna right now to end the podcast, we're just gonna discuss what would happen with these Final 4 matches, how they would go. Because they're dream matches.
I gotta get my phone because I gotta remember what exactly I picked as my phone.
You wanna go run and get it right now?
Yeah, let me go get it. It's behind me.
So
Y'all can talk.
We'll talk about this. We'll start it off. Why don't you give yours first while the RKJ Man is going to retrieve his phone? You ended up with a Final 4 of what was it? It was Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero.
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, Austin, and Undertaker. Those are my 4.
Okay. So those were your 4, and then so what were the actual individual matchups that would happen there? I think it was Bret Hart and Eddie Guerrero, and then Stone Cold versus the Undertaker.
Yeah.
So explain to the viewer what would happen on those 2 matches. Who would go over and why? Okay,
so since I've seen the Undertaker and Austin go at it before numerous occasions in different pay-per-views and even on Raw's War back in the day. I would have to say maybe, I'm going to have to say with Stone Cold going over with up against Undertaker. Sure, there's been times when Undertaker has beaten Austin before, but Austin's got that brawl experience and he's got that he's got those wrestling him wrestling some of the biggest and baddest, dudes at the time, with Rock, Mankind, Bret Hart, you name it. And so I think Austin just takes the advantage. Undertaker might tire him down, but Austin, he comes out on top, even tired as well. So Austin advances, while Bret Hart and Eddie Guerrero, they have a great match.
Yeah.
Eddie Guerrero tries to surprises Bret Hart most of the time. Bret Hart just counters every single move that Eddie does. Eddie tries to find ways. Probably does his cheating tactics, but Bret Hart catches him, and I think Bret Hart advances. So he beats Eddie Guerrero by submission. He traps him.
Makes sense.
And Bret Hart advances. And do you want me to talk about Austin and Bret?
So then you'd have Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. We've seen that before.
A rematch of WrestleMania 13.
How would it go? How would this match go, being the final or like the main event, right? This is your main event. Yeah. How would it go?
Okay, so Austin and Bret, I would say these guys hated each other in '97. That was feud of the year. And even after WrestleMania, Austin completely did not want to let go of Bret. He kept coming after Bret Hart and his family. And knowing that Bret Hart and Austin, they have another chance at facing each other. So now Austin wants to like get his revenge on Bret Hart, and Bret Hart, he wants it back again. Now with Bret Hart and Austin, he just unleashes on him, tries to completely batter him, and Bret Hart tries to counter as much as Austin, all his moves that Austin does. Austin tries to pummel him as much as he can, but Bret Hart, counters, and there will be times when Bret Hart will get so frustrated because Austin just keeps coming after him, just like what he did back in the day. and Austin just gives him a stunner, maybe like 3 stunners to try to take down Bret Hart. And Bret Hart, he'll try to get him in the submission lock with the sharpshooter. Austin gets him back, tries to push him away, and then Austin just he tries to reverse it with his own sharpshooter, and then maybe after that, maybe his and I wish they were alive. Maybe some of the guys from the Hart Foundation gets involved, like the old days.
Yeah.
And I think what would happen is Austin, he would take them all, and then Bret Hart, he would put him in the submission again, but Austin reverses it, gives him a stunner, and finally Austin
beats the odds.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and then after that, Austin just flips off Bret Hart like yeah. Because, dude, if you look at that feud between Bret Hart and Austin, they just did not like each other.
Yeah.
If anything, that was Attitude Era.
No, yeah, and that makes sense. I think Stone Cold has to go over Bret Hart in those situations, especially with Hart being the heel, Stone Cold being the face. If this is your main event, Stone Cold's got to go over. And beating the odds, I like that touch, adding the Hart Foundation, adding that extra heel touch. You know, we want that with Kofi Kingston. It's not happening.
Yeah.
But in this case, we make it more realistic, and we're not power hungry, and Stone Cold wins. Now, RKJ, man, I'm going to have you go next because I think I know who you're going to end up having win in this whole thing. If I'm wrong, please explain. But I think mine.
Actually, I have a surprise for you. But
okay. So who's your final four?
So my final four from this bracket that we put out, which had some notable people that were not on it, like Sting, right? Eric, who else was missing? Raven was missing.
Was one of my favorites.
You know, they had Sami Zayn in here. He was a 16 seed though, so that's understandable.
Yeah, not a lot of ECW guys.
Oh, and then they also had Andre the Giant as an 8 seed. Like, he's a number 1 seed.
Ric Flair's a 5.
Yeah, like,
come on, man.
Ric Flair's Mississippi State. You know, it doesn't make sense. You know, but yeah, like the person who mentioned on our Facebook that Stone Cold Andre the Giant 1 versus 8 in that second round matchup. That's a pretty good matchup. But my final four came out to be The Rock, Undertaker. It came out to be Ultimate Warrior and John Cena. Okay, and I think your final four matchups are Rock versus Taker, Cena versus Ultimate Warrior. I'm picking Ultimate Warrior just because I think towards the end of Hogan's run in the WWF, I think Ultimate Warrior was slightly more popular. People were booing Hogan. They were getting tired of the red and yellow. The kids were going up. And, you know, Ultimate Warrior is just the cooler guy. So I think Cena versus Ultimate Warrior. I think at the end of the day, Ultimate Warrior is going to try his stuff, but I think Cena is going to overcome them odds. I think it's going to be a quick matchup, just that people are there for the spectacle. I think the real working match will be The Rock versus John Cena. I think that's going to be a 25-minute match, and I think some way, somehow, The Rock's just not going to have enough to beat The Undertaker. So in my main event, I have Undertaker versus Cena. Okay? Now, this is tough for me because I'm a huge Rock fan, but even I can admit, overall, in the grand scheme of things, Undertaker's taking that win in the final.
Yeah.
So you would have Undertaker versus John Cena. And let's just pretend like the streak is on the line. Let's pretend that, you know, barring last year's WrestleMania and Thugonomics Cena, they've never met before. I think this could be the start of a heel turn for John Cena. And I think he's so desperate to win WrestleMania, to beat the Undertaker streak, and to be the top guy in the WWE, that he's going to cheat to win. And it's John Cena winning the whole damn thing as a heel against the Undertaker,
breaking the streak,
and breaking the streak how it should have been.
I love that match. That is so good.
That's crazy.
And it never happened.
That's the time, and I thought about it. I was like, yeah, that's a good match.
It never happened. Yeah, no, I'm glad. Yeah, that's a good one. And I'm glad you didn't have Rock just going over everybody because you're a fan. So I appreciate that. So
fan.
Yeah, so my final four, it is different. I did have Rock versus Undertaker. And so that's to say, I think we all had Undertaker in our brackets, right? Because Undertaker's just he's not getting to the final four. You know, he's like Duke. He's not. They'll get to the Final Four. Then you never know because you're in a big arena. The sight lines are weird. But, so I have Rock and Undertaker, and then I ended up with Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart as well in my Final Four.
Bret Hart?
Yeah, no, Bret Hart, yeah. So it just, if you look at the way the bracket goes, Bret Hart should dominate that one bracket. I think let me see who he beat.
The Elite Eight is Kurt Angle versus Bret Hart, right? We can.
Yes.
Okay.
So Bret Hart's going over. Bret Hart's better than Kurt. That one bracket is not as definitely not as good as some of the other brackets. But so Bret Hart sneaks in when probably someone like John Cena should be in there, or Stone Cold Steve Austin at least, but they don't end up being there. So Rock versus Undertaker, RKJ, very similar to what you said. Undertaker, he's just too good. And the way I did my bracket as well, which is why I might have got different guys.
Oh, you legitimately filled the whole thing out?
I wrote it on my phone.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I just went through the matchups. But the way I did it was I did it at everyone's best, at everyone's prime. That's what the matchup would be. So it's John Cena in his prime, not John Cena right now. It's The Rock at his height. It's Stone Cold at his height. It's Andre the Giant at his height. It's The Undertaker at his height. And I think Undertaker at his height is at WrestleMania. And so Undertaker's not losing at WrestleMania to The Rock. The Rock lost to Hulk Hogan. The Rock has lost to Stone Cold at WrestleMania before. I think he can lose to The Undertaker. So realistically, Undertaker goes over, right? And then I have Hulk Hogan versus Bret Hart, which also I believe that didn't happen either. That match never happened.
They thought it was going to happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But apparently Vince was like, no, that's what you thought you heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was going to be a WrestleMania match, but what happened was that Bret Hart said that Hogan would not keep up with him because Hogan's got like very limited move sets. So, and even Hogan
didn't want him surpassing him. Hogan didn't want him making more money than
factor too. So that's another one.
No, exactly. And so with me, I have Hogan beating Bret Hart. I just think Hogan at his prime is not taking a sharpshooter from Bret Hart. It's not happening, and Hogan goes over. Now, this creates Hulk Hogan in his prime versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania, which I think is the best match you could probably ever come up with, besides maybe John Cena in his prime versus The Undertaker. But this is a dream match of dream matches. Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker. I have Taker kicking out of the leg drop. I have Hogan kicking out of the tombstone. I'm not going against Taker. I have Taker winning the whole damn thing. I think Undertaker, to be honest, is probably the best wrestler of all time. Just his longevity in his career. I think he deserves to be at the top of my bracket. And I'm glad I got a dream match like this, Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, because me and my brother were talking about this last night. He did his own bracket, and I think he ended up with I forget what his was. I think it was like John Cena and Stone Cold, something crazy like that, which would have been insane too.
That would have been a great match.
Yeah, so these are the kind of dream matches we want to talk about. And so Hogan versus The Undertaker, 30-minute match. The crowd's chanting for both guys, and Undertaker goes over and hits him with a second tombstone and pins him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring.
It's happened before. Yeah, they fought before, but it would be nice if Hogan were to be like in the number 22 on the WrestleMania on the streak, I would say.
No, that's what I'm saying. It like you said, RKJ Man, about the streak being on the line in this case. It's streak on the line versus Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's not. Undertaker's winning.
The streak should have stayed like that for the all time. It should have just stayed undefeated.
You could also do Hulk Hogan. You were talking about having Hogan
versus Austin.
Well, not even that. That's another one. I'm kind of pissed none of us ended up with that one. But you have Hogan. The fans aren't starting to cheer for him, stuff like that. You were talking about Ultimate Warrior. Well, the other way this match could go is if Hogan joins the NWO and turns heel and again cheats and ends up using the Undertaker streak and joins the NWO right after the match. I think that's
crazy.
That's just insane. You're getting the best heel turn of all time, beating the best streak of all time. So that could also go. It could go both ways, but I'm still going to take Taker over everybody in. So that's what it ends up being. But Yeah, so
great match.
You wanted to talk. We could talk. I mean, I even like going over Seth Rollins and JBL was hard for me to pick. You know what I'm saying? That was a hard,
That's an easy one. Seth Rollins all day, every day, twice on Sundays, man.
I ended up with top Lesnar versus top Cena at one point too, which I think would be an insane match. I had Cena going over in that one. Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair in both their primes. I think that would have been a great match.
That's a great match.
I had Flair going over. Shawn Michaels versus Rey Mysterio, low-key, would be unbelievable. You do that match back in 2006. That's good.
How about the 8-9 matchup with him versus Finn Balor? That's actually a pretty good matchup, actually. Mysterio versus Finn Balor. They had that. And
Rey Mysterio,
their styles gel together.
They do. That was a good one. Razor Ramon versus the Undertaker would have been pretty good too, but that was underrated. And then of course I had Stone Cold versus Andre the Giant, like we talked about. I had to put Stone Cold over because I just think Andre the Giant was great, but I think he was beatable, obviously. And I had also ended up with Andre and Triple H, Andre and The Rock, and a bunch of other people. So it was good. I had a lot of good ones there. So, very, very interesting. Very interesting doing these kind of brackets. I'm glad you posted that. And here's the thing. You hear this podcast and you hear us talk about this, go and do your own one. Just go on our Twitter. It's like probably the first thing there.
And plug in the superstars you think weren't included. Like, I think Steen should have been in this. I picked this random run off Reddit. And somebody put it on Reddit, and I just put it on here on our social media. But go plug in who you think it is and post it and tell us on our social media. We'll shout you out. You know what I'm saying? But, I thought this was very interesting. And then very it's fun. Like at the very end, there's like superstars who have competed at WrestleMania only. They have Stone Cold, they have The Rock, Hogan, Cena, Undertaker, Shawn, Kurt, Bret. I don't know. They had that there, and I was just like...
I just disregarded it. I was like, those would just seem like the best guys, so I guess that's what they're doing. But you had Ric Flair as the damn 5 seed, and Andre the Giant is an 8 seed. So I didn't.
It doesn't make any sense. Andre should have his own bracket. He should at least be a 1 seed, if not a 2 seed.
I also had Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna as a match, which I thought would be very interesting. Didn't
they fight it before?
Yeah, they fought it.
I wasn't a big fan of Yokozuna.
No, I think he should have lost some weight for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he ended up dying because of it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I just wasn't a big fan of Yoko. I mean, I know they main evented 9 and 10, him and Bret Hart, but nobody really talks about 9 and 10. The only reason people talk about 10 is because of because of Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon ladder match. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
True, and it has a 0 at the end, which just people are gonna look to that. Yeah, so that's all we have for this podcast. We definitely want to talk about storylines, and we'll do another podcast next week, and we'll talk about what's gone on since then. And I think eventually one of these next 2 podcasts we're definitely going to be predicting NXT, and we're going to do a WrestleMania predictions as well. We might actually do a WrestleMania predictions with a podcast as well, but we might be able to do 2 of those kind of things. Make a shorter prediction.
One of our longer podcasts.
Oh, it's gonna be an 8-hour podcast.
The rest of 8-hour podcast.
4 SmackDowns worth of podcast.
Piss breaks, man.
4 SmackDowns.
Yeah, get ready. All right, let's promote your stuff, guys.
Go ahead,
at RKJ Man, pretty much everywhere. Instagram, the RKJ Man. On Facebook, at RKJ Man. On Twitter. Just catch us as we're following our dreams. Eric Santos, what's your stuff, man?
For me, check me out on Instagram, _Santos_9. Check me out on OC Rock Radio, Slammer Saturday. There will be no Slammer Saturday for tomorrow or Slammer Saturday this week, but I'll be doing it in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Before WrestleMania. So,
wait a minute, why not tomorrow?
Swallows Day Parade.
Swallows Day.
Yeah, and
the tradition continues.
I'm gonna meet up with some of my friends over there, and just hang out.
It's gonna get crazy.
I love Swallows Day Parade.
So in 2 weeks, we're gonna be having Slam and Saturday, but WrestleMania themed, because before that, we're gonna, after that, we're gonna have to go to WrestleMania, so that's good. Also check me on the Video Game Cafe 1 on Instagram and Facebook. Check me out on Twitch and YouTube. New videos up. There's a puzzle I still have yet to figure out, so check me out as I struggle that puzzle. Damn it! And so send some help if you ever get the chance to.
Yeah, the puzzle's going over against Eric in that match.
We need to send you some help when you're on SmackDown versus Raw. You can't keep losing.
Bro, come on.
It's 2K19.
Well, I'm sorry, 2K19. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I played it, so yeah. I still played it back in the SmackDown versus Raw days.
Eric's gonna win if it takes us all night in the hotel room one night.
If it takes us all night in the hotel room,
it's gotta win a match.
Yeah, like we're gonna win this thing.
I was discussing this with Ryan that I was just telling him that the grappling system and the submissions have changed over the years, so that's why I've been like, whoa, what the hell happened? And then it's just very weird. So it takes a while for me to get accustomed. That's why.
Also, you're probably going to do your whole WrestleMania gameplay probably soon, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to do that very soon since we are getting close to WrestleMania. No, I'm not sure we're going to be doing any UFC fights, but I think I'll probably do that like right after we get back at WrestleMania because we got.
Well, yeah, because I think the 236.
236 is coming.
The UFC's smart and they don't put they don't try to put those UFC pay-per-views around WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Dana still knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows what's going on.
So
it's a good card. It's a good card, but we'll talk about that after WrestleMania. We're not gonna work.
Yeah, so I'll do that gameplay of the UFC right after WrestleMania. So yeah. That's that.
All right, my stuff at Nick Nenad, all lowercase on everything. At Nick_Nenad. Definitely don't follow me on Snapchat because I do not go on Snapchat and I don't even check people's stuff. But it's still out there. So. And then also I do the Cover 2 podcast every Wednesdays at 9 a.m. With my homie Jared. We're going to be doing our MLB predictions for the season. We're also going to be talking about March Madness and everything I got wrong. So you can see Jared just light me up on that podcast because I've gotten everything wrong but UCI essentially. So, and all the 1-2 seeds. And literally, Iowa State lost tonight. I had them in the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, Iowa State.
Marquette, I had in the Elite 8. Nevada, I had in the Final 4. Just.
Yeah, that one I didn't know what you were doing there. I was like, what is he doing?
I'm worse at the bracket than Eric is at SmackDown. We're 2K19.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, so I do all that, and then I actually I'll make an appearance on Eric's Slam Saturday show too. I'll be there whenever that happens. I think we'll just promote that whenever, but I want to promote that show because that's going to be big, and that was so much fun last time. So I invited myself if that was okay. I'll be in the OC Rock. I know the code to get into the OC Rock Radio.
Yeah. Everybody knows how to get in.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my stuff. If I forgot, and obviously the Ring General stuff. It's at the Ring Generals, all lowercase. That's on Instagram. Yeah. At Ring Generals 1, capital R, capital G, and the number 1 on Twitter. Ring Generals on Facebook as well. And of course, type in the Ring Generals on YouTube, and it should be the first thing that comes up. Or at least,
And I want to give a special shout out to Dino Cazares of Fear Factory who commented on our post. Thank you, Dino Cazares. That was WCW. Beach Royale, I think, back in '99, and Fear Factory was playing. They were playing their songs from the Obsolete album. Great album. And also shout out to Drowning Pool for liking your stuff. So
definitely. Drowning Pool, a long time. I've been a long time fan of their stuff.
The floor.
Yeah, exactly.
Step up.
This is why you've got to follow us on social media because we've got so much stuff going on.
Yeah, we got Fred Durst 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Fred Durst,
Steve Perino.
And we're in talks, and we're trying to do stuff for WrestleMania weekend. Like we're gonna try to interview as many people, fans, whatever, wrestlers. We see somebody in the street, we're gonna be those awkward people coming up to them talking, trying to get an interview. Like that's just how it is at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know,
homeless dude. We'll interview him.
You said what?
We'll bring in the homeless dude as well. You know,
bring in the homeless dude.
Yeah,
absolutely. Make him take a shower first. He's taking a shower. He ain't taking a shower in my room.
We're going to Zaxby's.
We're going to Zaxby's.
Yeah.
We're going to Zaxby's.
Going to Zaxby's.
Get that
all right. Chicken. Yeah, RKJ man closes the one out.
Hey man, wherever you're at, wherever you're listening or watching us from, raise a glass in the sky and salute the Ring Generals.
All right.